Hey you guys, this is Annie with Southtown Realty. It is the third Thursday of the month, so we are doing our third Thursdays where I interview somebody related to home buying, selling, or occupying. Tonight I have on Drake Myers, who is the owner of Elevated Coatings. Wow, thank you so much for your patience in joining me. This is Drake Myers. He's the owner of Elevated Coatings, and also my neighbor. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on here,
Of course.
neighbor.
I know, exactly. And thanks to the people, there's a couple of people that have joined, been trying to join and they're back again. So thanks for that as well. So yeah, so I just want to give a little background. So I moved into my place it'll be 2 years in February, which is insane. It
Wow.
went so fast. And Drake and his brother live a couple doors down. And so I met them early on. They're definitely the coolest people that live in this complex.
Let's
And
go.
yeah, let's go.
Likewise, back at you.
Thank you. And then they were kind enough early on to be like, hey, we noticed that your garage floor looks pretty barren. And a lot of the neighbors here have their garage floors done. And so they were kind enough to do my floor, and I totally love it. So yeah, so that's a little backstory. Get a little background on you. I don't know how long you've lived here. I don't know how long you've owned your business.
Sure.
Did you grow up here? Give us a little background.
Yeah, so my family's from Indiana originally. I actually came out here, I played rugby in high school, so we had nationals out here. And I came to the University of Utah for school. Graduated from the business school there and then got a job in Chicago. My family was still in Indiana at the time, and my sister's actually out in Utah. So she ended up having a baby. So my parents said, screw the Midwest, let's go out to Utah. And me and my brother actually had started a business in Indiana. And when they moved away from us, we decided, hey, let's join them and go back out to Utah. I miss the mountains. I miss snowboarding anyways. So it all kind of made sense and came together. So we started this business about 6 years ago now.
Okay. And it was the same business in Indiana or a different thing?
Yeah, so different name, same business. We had been doing it. I had a job in Chicago, so my brother and his two friends were kind of hands-on, and I was more like a back office, helping with books, type of situation.
Okay, cool. I love the name too, actually, as I was doing one of the intros, because every time I logged on, I did a new intro. And I was like, when you go into one of those houses and you see those garage floors that are coated and it has this really elevated look, and then I was like,
Yeah.
elevated coating. Oh my
Hand
God.
in hand.
I know, it's perfect. And then what was your degree in?
So I was information systems was my degree. So it was kind of cool at the U. They specialized more like an entrepreneur, data science degree is kind of how I describe it. So you learn a bunch about programming and then also like kind of Shark Tanky kind of feel. You come up with your own business, develop the website, and then kind of pitch it. It was one of the courses or data storage or how to market that data. Just like it's kind of a broad, it was a newer degree when I was there, so they kind of like made it a broad topic and kind of figured out the best route for it. But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm particularly always interested in entrepreneurs and how they got their start. And sometimes it's so random. They're like, oh, I have a degree in archaeology, but now I
Yeah,
have a business doing whatever. So
for
that sounds like
sure.
a really cool, relevant business in order to start your own
Yeah,
thing. That's awesome.
for sure. It a lot of it was just getting into IT and tech. Tech was getting so coding and programming. That was kind of my mindset getting into it. And then as the courses developed and all that, I realized it was more like learning how to make your own business and market that business. So
Yeah.
it was cool. It was a really cool degree.
No, no, it's very true. Even real estate is half of it is just sort of I am the product, just sort of
Yeah, right.
marketing myself. Like when you first get your license, you're like, wow, I have my license. And then you're like, now what do I do?
Yeah, right.
Because they don't nobody
A lot
hands you clients or whatever.
of
So
self-starters.
yeah. So it's you and your brother, and then are any other family members involved in the business?
Yeah, so my initially is me and my brother, and being the men we are, crazy and unorganized, just like nothing's clean, just gross, and just not handling it how we should. We hired a few guys and about a year into business, and it just kind of kept picking up and growing, and that's when my mom volunteered to help in the business. So she holds it down, just the baddest woman out there, and kills it. So she does a lot of behind the scenes that doesn't get the credit, but really keeping the structure and organization done for us. She does an awesome job. So
Oh, I
it's us
love
three
that.
that are really involved, but honestly, it's the whole family because we talk about it like nonstop. My sister gets so annoyed. She's like, "Leave me out of this. Like, this is all. Is this your life?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have a kid, so yeah, pretty much
Yeah.
my life."
I love that though.
Yeah,
I love the family business thing. That's very cool.
yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about like the brass tacks of getting a garage floor done. So, I sell a lot of really old houses,
Hmm.
so garage floors are cracked or crooked or different things. So, what are some considerations that people should have if they're thinking about getting, well, actually, maybe you should start with like what kind of coatings you do.
Yeah.
That
So
kind of thing.
we've been doing like residential spaces, patios, decks, driveways, walkways, man caves, basements, and garage floors, for the whole duration. We started our commercial business almost 3 years ago now. So, I mean, really anything when you see those big Walmarts or Costco's, like that's the type
Oh,
of flooring we do on that end too commercially. But residentially, garages, I mean, it's an easy way to add value to your home. A lot of people that we work with are people that have like really, they're about to sell their home and it's a disgusting space, whether it's a garage or a back patio that's falling apart. Like it's something that we can give value to them. So a lot of the time when we come in, it's like you said, old, cracked, disgusting, and we can make it look
huh,
brand new. And it's honestly, it's a great way man and woman love to have like a clean
yeah.
extra space. Um, so that's yeah, it's a big thing for us.
Huh. Okay, so even if the floor is a wreck and cracked and or crooked or all those things, you can still do your
Yeah,
coating.
yeah. So it's not the coating goes on very super thick. It's that all the prep work that goes into it. I mean, a lot of people try to do it themselves. I don't recommend it. It sucks.
Yeah.
And it usually doesn't hold up that well. So a lot of it's just the prep work and how we fill those issues, those cracks, the pitting. A big thing is which you probably saw when we had done it for you, but the grinding and
Yeah.
making sure the floor is porous in order to take on that product.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. And I just heard you say you do patios, and I really want to do something with my, yeah, I
Oh
mean, you
yeah.
guys have the same
Yeah.
patio, but
I'll
like,
show you. We're planning to do some sort of, so we do like overlay systems too, where it's kind of more like a tile look, but it's a
oh, wow.
coating, or like a wood look, but it's really coating. So that's
Okay.
something we're planning to do this year back there.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
but yeah, yeah, really, I mean, anything like decorative you can think of, you can mimic a lot of your wood look, tile looks with the products we use, which is
Oh,
really cool.
yeah. Yeah, I barbecue on my patio a bunch, and like every time I like spill some grease and then
Yeah.
it leaves some gross stain, and I'm like, I need something that I can like squeegee or wipe off or something.
Yeah,
So
right.
I might be calling you again anyway.
Yeah, the limit, I mean, it's limitless on the options you have, which
Okay.
is it's really cool. And every space that's even wood, concrete or wood. So
Huh.
we can apply it pretty much to anything that you're going to have outside or inside your home.
Okay, I'm gonna sneak a question on you because this came up recently. So I just sold a house that had in the basement a concrete floor and it had like an epoxy coating on it. And it was probably a DIY job,
Hmm.
just a guess. Um, and I'm not trying to put my inspector under the bus or anything, but he was like, sometimes when you put these coatings on, like the garage floor has to breathe a little bit. Like there's always some moisture that comes up. So he was like, I don't recommend doing that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so you can have moisture is definitely a huge, huge issue. I mean, you see it here a lot of like last year with a lot of snow. I mean, we were almost 1,000
Ah,
inches at some resorts. So
yeah.
you'll see from the outside working in that water and it can come up and pop. A cool thing that we do with our primer coat, we lay a moisture vapor barrier.
Um,
So when we lay that down, it allows to have resistance against water shooting up. Now, at some points, you'll see a lot of pressure from water, and that's something that you could have a bigger issue than just the coating
maybe you need a
failing. But
sump pump or something.
yeah, so
Yeah.
something to hold that water that is allowing that pressure. But yeah, we always have like a moisture barrier laid down so we don't run into that
Do
issue.
you
But that's a good
still
question.
Do you still like see the concrete through the coating when you have the moisture barrier, or what does it look like at that point?
So we have like a, you can color those primers. It typically comes in like a red translucent color, so you can kind of see. A big thing we do is we test that concrete so we can see if there's moisture.
I see.
So we have a radar. If it's over a certain percent, then we can lay down a test kit and lay down that test kit. It's a pretty cool system that you put on like a petri
Yeah.
disc, and you'll let that sit for a day. And if you can see the moisture accumulating in there, then you know that it's higher than that certain
Okay.
amount. So that's rare in this state.
Yeah.
We're back in Indiana or somewhere in Florida. They see a lot more issues with
Got it.
moisture and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah. No, no, that's like such a testament. When people buy houses, so many of my people want to DIY stuff, and I am big on DIY. Like I've always done a lot of stuff in my own houses, but there's some things that you're like, man, get the professional out
right,
there. Like the way that you just described that, I'm like, yeah, I think if I were coating a concrete basement floor, I'd want to have like a professional making sure that it's not going to have bubbling issues or whatever. So
for sure.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of research. I mean, trial and error. I'm not gonna lie and say I've laid something and everything's perfect. It's like we've done this long enough where I'm like, okay, we're avoiding that. This is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Like we've had
Well,
some issues like that, but it's good to learn from that. Now we know.
for sure. And you'll be able to say whether or not it's even a good idea, right? Like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, like I know it would look really cool, but maybe a better option would be, X, Y, Z.
exactly.
So yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, I think just I would love to know like what have you learned being a business owner? Do you recommend it? Like, are there days that you're like, "Duh, I wish I hadn't done this,
Oh
or are
my
you just like,
gosh.
this is amazing? Like,
I
just a
wish
little
I could
insight as
say every day
entrepreneur.
it's just perfect and easy, and I love it, but it has a lot of, it's tough. A lot of days it's tough, but when it's good, it's great. It's
Sure.
like incredible. When it's bad, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? So
Yeah.
like, can definitely see both sides of it. And I just think the biggest thing is like hiring the right people and then making sure those people are taken care of. That's the biggest thing. And then obviously your customer's going to be first. Everyone knows that, but just got to make sure you have the right team and build the right team.
Yeah. And I'm like totally springing questions on you
You're
that I
good.
didn't send you in advance, but
You're
how
fine.
did you do during the pandemic? Did your business, like, were people doing a lot of stuff at their homes? Did you do better?
Yeah. I mean, it was
Yeah.
insane. We went from, I think there was like 7 or 8 of us before the pandemic, and we had grown to like 50 some employees. So I
God.
mean, it just, we couldn't even keep up. And that's another thing, the scaling, we were scaling so quick that it was hard to do it right.
Yeah.
So now we scale back a little bit, and now we can like actually manage what we're doing a lot better than before. We're just like throwing
Yeah.
people everywhere, and it gets tough to jump that quick. But yeah, we grew just exponentially during COVID. It was
Wow.
crazy. Hard to keep
So,
up.
that's so cool. I love that. Well, I won't keep you for long tonight. I know you got other things going on, but man, I really appreciate your patience in
No,
logging on and
no, I'm glad
being
this it
here.
worked. It's a Christmas
Yes.
miracle, even though Christmas is over.
I know, right? It doesn't look like it. Sometimes I get like live questions and
Yeah.
stuff. It doesn't look like I have any live questions, but if anybody has questions afterwards, please follow Elevated Coatings. Ask your questions there. You can ask me and I can reach out to them. So yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you being on.
Yeah, thank you. Let's get a drink soon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for
All
sure.
right, I'll
And
holler
you
at
can come and
you.
look at the patio and see what I
Yeah,
should do.
right.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Have a
Thank you.
good
I'll see
night.
ya.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.